This is Katrin with Disability Rights New York. Welcome to our podcast, Empire State of Rights Closed Captioned. We are here to bring you information on the most relevant topics regarding disability rights and advocacy. Today, we welcome Jennifer Monthie, Legal Director here at DRNY. She's here to discuss Disability Rights New York's successes throughout 2019. Hi, Jennifer. How are you today?
Good. Thank you for having me.
Jennifer, DRNY expanded a lot this year. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Absolutely. So this year has been really a year of growth in some of our programs. For example, our intake department, which has been operating for the last 5+ years, went through an evolution and became not just a department that accepted information from the outside, but also gave information as an advocacy unit. So our department grew in the sense that we provided direct advocacy right from the intake process. So those that contacted us were able to have an immediate resolution to some of the problems they were calling about without having to have a case that was opened up into the entire organization. So that's an exciting change for our organization. We were able to help a lot of people through that process. Another big change was the expansion of our representative payee program, which is a program we've coined. In April of 2018, Congress expanded the protection advocacy system so that DRNY could provide advocacy to people who are beneficiaries of Social Security and have a representative payee that assists them with those benefits. And while that happened in 2018, 2019 was really about growth in that department and hiring staff to be able to execute on the obligations under that program. And finally, we actually expanded our physical offices. So in Rochester, we expanded the physical space and had a ribbon cutting, which was fantastic. We were joined by board members as well as city officials and community members in the Rochester area. And we have this wonderful, bright space that we were able to move our staff into. And so we have a larger physical presence in the Rochester area.
So a lot of big changes, and that they're all very good for our audience members and our client base. Can you talk to us now about litigation? Where are we as far as successes for 2019, if you want to tell us a little bit about those?
Absolutely. So we have a very diverse litigation docket, as I like to call it. We assist people with disabilities as our core mission, and that core mission is to advance their rights, and we do that in a really variety of ways. And in a variety of forums as well, both state and federal court systems. So whether it is fighting for people to be given eligibility to state services, which we have lawsuits about, or restoring their rights under guardianship, or fighting to get people who are in more institutionalized settings back into their communities. We look for a diversity with our litigation docket. The goals are really the same, no matter which case we bring. We're looking to help the individual, but also expand the rights of a larger population of people that might be impacted by a problem. So, for example, one of the cases that we filed this year alongside the Legal Aid Society of New York City and the private law firm of Paul Weiss was a case where we discovered that individuals who are in the prison system were being kept either beyond the maximum date that they're supposed to be kept there, or been found to not be released on parole because the mental health system was not able to provide them the services they needed to leave that prison setting, or the prison setting was holding them until those mental health services were available. So people were having their stay in prison extended beyond what it should be. So we were able to join in that coalition and file a lawsuit against the state. Other cases that we get involved with are physical access cases. We have an ongoing litigation against the Dollar General for physical access, but we also take on some individual cases where we believe there will be a systemic impact. So, for example, we might fight against landlords who aren't providing emotional support animals, or who are denying reasonable accommodations. One of the cases that we filed was a landlord that refused to allow the tenant to move from a third-floor apartment to a first-floor apartment, even though that apartment remained vacant. And being able to educate the public through these litigations about what their obligations are, that's one of the key things that we look at through our litigation docket and have been successful in doing. I'll say each one of these cases that I describe, and I know are listed on our website, and I'm sure there's lots of podcasts about many of them, they all had really good, productive outcomes to them this year, not necessarily resolving the entire case, but we got some small victories along the way, which has pushed some of our cases through to mediation and forced the defendants to think about settling them. And other ones were just the success of getting a lawsuit off the ground and filing it, which is a huge burden, but is an exciting step forward to trying to resolve a systemic problem.
You talked about education as being part of one of the things that we do when we're looking at whether it's litigation or comments that we submit. Talk about some outreach successes we've had this year.
So outreach is very important to our organization, and that's an umbrella term for us. That's just the way in which we might communicate with the public about both the work we're doing as well as expand an understanding of our organization to the public. And one of the core components of each one of the programs that we operate here is outreach. We need to know what the public is seeing in order to be able to address those systemic problems that I just talked about with our litigation docket. And one of the things that I love the public to know is that we're not just a law firm that brings litigation. We try to find ways of solving problems outside the confines of litigation because litigation is costly, it's timely, and it can take decades to come to a solution. So some of the efforts this last year have been about expanding our message and as well creating better coalitions for us. One of the efforts we engaged in was outreach to the Native American populations here. We have an ongoing fellowship, a 2-year fellowship here, with that being its sole focus. We were able to send one of our staff to a powwow, which was very exciting, as well as hold free legal clinics specifically targeting the issues that population felt or feels. We also were able to engage in a coalition with the New York City Commission on Human Rights and the Mayor's Office for People with Disabilities to put on a disability protection symposium. This was a great way of kind of bringing together the New York City community to talk about issues that are impacting the population that we serve. And the last, which is many may think of as really a strange thing for an advocacy organization to do, but we think is a very effective vehicle to talking to the public, is we produced a video, a short documentary called Connie. And as a result, Connie was selected for the Adirondack Film Festival, the Lake Placid Film Festival, and the New York State International Film Festival, and among others. And so it was very great to see the accolades that came out of this film. It's a fantastic film, if I do say so myself, and I encourage everybody to watch it. But it was great to see people view DRNY in a different way than just as those litigators that run into court. And it showed the breadth of the type of things that we might do here to expand the message about people with disabilities. And this message of Connie is very uplifting and exciting to watch, but it talks about how a person with a disability used that disability to really advance her passion for the arts. And so being able to transcend that message of, we often in the public see people with disabilities and the thought of disabilities is somehow negative, and it isn't, and it doesn't need to be. And we want to be able to spread that message to the community and to have people have examples of things that they can look to that demonstrate that people with disabilities are a part of our community, that they are around us, and they're participating in life in the same way that a person without a disability might do so.
And so something else that our audience may not know, we had a great award this year. Can you talk to us a little bit about that?
So the Capital District Women's Bar Association made Disability Rights New York the 2019 Carol S. Knox Family Friendly Employer Award. We were really excited about this award because we do a lot for our community, but we don't have a great way of publicizing to our community how much we also do for our employees and how this is a really great place to work. And the award is to recognize the commitment of an organization to be a family-friendly environment for its employees and to represent a model to legal employers about how you can be a family-friendly environment. And it is because of the policies that we put in place here and the benefits that we offer to our employees that we were given this honor. And we'd want to say to the community is that while we do enjoy doing this fantastic work, all of our employees really committed to this mission that we have, it's also important for us to recognize that we have to create the right environment for our employees to be able to do this hard work. And it is hard work to do for our community. And the least that we can do as an employer is to really recognize that that is something that takes a great amount of commitment, and to do whatever we can for our employees to create an environment that they're able to focus on that for the community.
Well, we were very excited to get the award because we too love to work at DRNY. Jennifer, is there anything else you want to let us know about that would fit in with our year-end wrap-up?
I would want to thank everyone who supports DRNY and reaches out to us or notifies us of the problems that they see that the population we're serving face every day. I would ask that everybody keep engaging, keep their eyes open, keep listening to the things that we put out and engaging with us. And I think that if we continue to do that together, we can work towards our goal of a more just and inclusive world.
Jennifer, thank you so much for your time today. As always, it has been a pleasure speaking with you.
Thank you for having me.
Empire State of Rights Closed Captioned has been brought to you by Disability Rights New York, your source for disability rights and advocacy. If you enjoyed our program, make sure to subscribe, like, and share this post. If there is a subject you would like us to discuss, please email podcast@drny.org or comment below. This will be the final episode of our 2019 season. We would like to thank each and every one of you for following our podcast. We will return January 8th to bring you more information on disability rights in the state of New York, so make sure you tune in. The closed caption version of this podcast is available on our YouTube channel. To listen to more Empire State of Rights Closed Caption, follow us on Apple Podcasts and Spotify.